Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Peace.
Welcome to Here to Help You. So, in the studio today, we're already in a great mood. We're off to a great day. You know what? You guys need to understand the importance of the team that I have here at Here to Help You. Of course, I have my co-host, the Don. What happened, Dave?
No, yeah, sir.
You okay?
Me good.
I see you trying to perch up this book, which I'm sure we're going to get to in a second, but it looks...
Perch.
It looks...
That is a lovely adjective.
You like that word, perch, eh?
That might be the word of the
perch
first segment.
Perch is not an adjective, though. You need to check that out.
Perch.
Perch is it's
a
an
verb.
action. It's a verb.
Oh, yes.
Get
Nice.
it together.
Really?
Wow. Dave doesn't teach my more advanced students. That would be me. And behind the scenes, we have the wonderful and lovely Chelsea, who makes my Tuesdays ever so pleasant. Yes, she does.
Wow.
She always has a smiling face.
Lovely.
And gives me lots of jokes. You know these millennials. Anyhow, so today is fun today. Honestly, it's a good day. We're having an extended summer.
Yay, summer.
Yeah, but some of the circumstances why we have this extended summer is not good, which we'll discuss today.
Which we'll get into.
We'll get into today.
Mm-hmm.
But today, everybody, our show rose from, I guess, a need to do two things.
Yes.
A need to celebrate and to continue to encourage community members who are actively doing what they need to be doing to make our community a better place to live. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we are talking about what we are going to do going forward and how Here to Help You and the team at My TCN TV are going to assist our community to grow and to develop. We're doing great things.
Yes, we are as a whole, and of course we'll mention, of course, the word collective.
Collective.
Right. And before we get into everything, the whole word, of course, UBUNTU as well, right? Which we'll mention.
I was supposed to start it today with that word, but Chelsea's making fun of the way I said it. She said it's well extra.
Well, by means, you can still go ahead and say it.
I'm not going to say it.
Really?
No, I'm not saying it because Chelsea was making fun of me. So I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say it for the rest of the show. She completely ruined it. I had it there. I was going to start the show by saying, say it for me.
UBUNTU. But
with a lot more enthusiasm because Dave, not so much.
No, I'm not you. You're a bundle of joy. I'm just... Let's deal with it.
All right. So let's get into it today. Let's start. We're going to take it from the old school and bring it on up to the future. So let's go back to looking at the African people and how a community looked like. And you know what? Dave's going to handle this because, again, Dave's just way better at this stuff than I am. So I'm going to let him do this. Dave, go ahead and speak to us. Talk to us about our past. Talk to us about us. How did we used to look?
Well, my notes today are taken from, of course, what you see.
This Dege book. What? The word came out again. Dege. All right, go ahead.
It's not Dege. By means, it's a very important piece of literature. Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. By means, if you haven't picked it up, please go ahead and do so. It is one of the most important works that any of our scholars can go ahead and present to us and leave for us as a people. I'm taking some of the research here from pages 161 throughout, where he's talking about an origin of an African democracy.
Okay, so tell me the origin of an African democracy. What does that look like?
Okay, so basically, and by means, if you see my head down, of course, I'm reading some notes here, so bear with me.
Yeah, today's a teaching day, more so than anything else today. We'll be teaching, so we both have a lot of notes and a lot of information to share. Pens and paper, share this out.
Please.
Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you very much. All right, so the biggest thing that through an African democracy, and for what I see here in the intro, is the fact that we all share a lineage, meaning a common point. Right? Whether it's, of course, tribal, whether it's, of course, in this case, a family, right? We're extended family and that sort of nation, right? That sort of standpoint. Now, from that, it was easy for a family to be considered an actual nation or an actual city or sort of like on those lines. What I mean by that is this. Now, if each family is some sort of an actual city or a nation, that means within the family structure, of course, you have interchangeable parts. right? Father may be, of course, the farmer. Another may be a chef, right? Another person may be, of course, take care of the rearing of the children. But of course, you have all these interchangeable parts which go ahead and can do to an actual family or a nation in this standpoint, right? And this was something now that was heavily emphasized within our communities, among our ancestors, that is.
So let me repeat this back in the person who's being learned right now.
Okay, go ahead.
So what you're telling me right now is that in our past, the families were looked at like cities.
Yes.
Am I correct? With each person having their role, kind of like a municipal.
There you go. She's not paying attention, is she? That's okay.
Chelsea, municipal.
She's doing
Are
work.
you paying attention? Are you taking notes? The young ones. Jeez. Go on. We're there. I think we're with you, Brother Dave, till this point. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Right. Now, Joshua Williams does state here that the lineage, ties, and responsibilities, and as well as what is called as an age grade or an age set system, were among the earliest of institutions. So we'll take the latter part, and of course we'll go on, of course, backwards. So an age grade or an age set, no different now from when in schools where you have, of course, grade 1 is about from anywhere from maybe age 5 through age 7, right? Grade 2, so on and so forth, right? So this was something that was very similar amongst them as well. Among the age set or age groups, you would also have an actual leader, an outspoken leader who was, of course, in charge of making sure everybody was doing their part. But at the same time, of course, it was still quite democratic, where each child, everybody pretty much had their say. Remember, guys, so what they needed to do, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I need to make sure.
No, but please, go right ahead.
So within these cities,
yes,
there were also sectors.
Perfect.
And these sectors all had a leader.
Yes.
At each age.
Yes.
So there was a leader amongst the 5-year-olds.
Well, a group. So a range, basically. Anywhere from maybe about 5 to 7.
Okay.
Right. Then you may look at 8 to 10. Right.
Okay.
And of course, when you're going up to ages now, maybe adolescent, of course, teenagers, so on and so forth. Right.
Okay.
But you still, of course, had a leader. Right. And of course, there were still democratic values imposed upon them as well.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Now, I'm going to use this example. There's a tribe called the Lunda, which was Central Africa. So anywhere from Angola, Congo, and as well as Zambia, right? And they use the lineage factor to their most beneficial, right? And what I mean by that is this. They were able to go ahead and expand their empire without any bloodshed. And then how they did was this. They went to a neighboring tribe and say, listen, we're family. And of course, they broke down, of course, their family ties. And once, of course, that other city, nation, state seen this, they jumped on board. And this is how their empire grew, right? This is no different now for anyone now who is attempting to set up an actual collective or cooperative where it's like, hey, we have this ideal, right? We need people to go ahead and jump on board, right? And of course, this is how, of course, an expansion will go ahead and take place, right? And if you notice here now, we don't have any one absolute or total absolute monarchy in this case. Exactly.
Okay.
Because the power was within.
In the collectivism.
There you go. Right? You with me? Right? You with
Should
me
I
so
repeat
far?
this?
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
So now, they were able, the
Lunda?
The Lunda.
Yes.
In my mind. So the Lunda was able to grow their community by simply going to their neighbors and saying, look, we are fam.
Yes.
Let's do this together so that we can do more.
Correct.
And then they grew without bloodshed.
That's exactly it.
Excellent.
Not one weapon, nobody lost their lives.
And there was no absolute power.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Because keep in mind this, although yes, of course, somebody at some point in time may have been elected a leader, right? But this selected leader, right, was doing the will of the people.
Okay. Kind of like Black Panther.
There you go.
And Wakanda. Coming out in January. February, Black History Month.
That's right.
Stop laughing, Chelsea. Whatever. Okay, you don't even know where Wakanda is. Go.
I don't think we can find it.
Yes, we can.
Can we?
Wakanda exists.
I'm sure it does. Right? Okay, so continuing on with the Lunda, right? They would approach independent states and seek to demonstrate from oral history that all of them were merely segments of a common lineage, our brothers, in fact. So this continues on, emphasizing what we've just stated, how, of course, no bloodshed, simply, of course, from tracing...
Because you're family.
Exactly. Right? And, of course, you look at all of us who have the same hue, we're coming from...
the same lineage.
Right. So, just off the strength of that, it should be a little bit more easier for us to go ahead and come together.
It should be.
It should be, right?
Mind you, we have to take into consideration the fact that after this, there were invaders that changed the whole scheme. They changed the whole thing.
Of course, and you see that especially in the islands, where, of course, if you're light skinned, right, if you're dark skinned, right, you see that whole division, I should say, right, and the weakening, of course, that lineage state now, that sense, that mentality that we are coming from one source.
Right, but because of, again, we're not going to go into that part of it because we all know what happens when the Europeans came. We don't need to discuss that, but we can say that before that, there was a time where all of us could collectively work together without bloodshed and grow.
Yes.
It's been done. We did it.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Right.
So this is possible.
Very.
All right. Why do you think, before we go into our next segment, because we're going to speak on it, we're not going to dwell on the negative because we don't do that here. Why do you think that's been an issue? Besides the European invasion, why else has there been an issue with that?
When two people have been, okay, let's say now you have friends who have grown up, and say about age 15, 16, right? And they've known each other pretty much, let's say, from diaper age, okay? Since they were in diapers, right? And these friends now, they grow apart, they go off, right? Regardless of circumstance, right? And now they come back together like years and years later, right? And these two friends now, they're complete strangers. Well, the same thing with us, where our division over millennials and millennials, right, have been so severe.
Millennials, really?
Not millennials, but millennials.
Okay. Shut up, Chelsea. Seriously. We'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to stop you there because I didn't even need that. We'll be back in a few minutes, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Hey guys, Grant here from Carib 101 Media Group, and this is an outreach video going out to everybody with a request for assistance on your part. As you guys know, there's a lot of devastation that happened in the islands because of Hurricane Irma. There are families that are hugely displaced. Some islands are over 95% inhabitable, and people are reaching out to us, asking us where they can either give products or aid or finances, and at the time we didn't know where to go.
So in order to aid in relief efforts, Carib 101 Media Group has started up a GoFundMe page where the community can now go and help submit donations in order to help rebuild the infrastructure that's been damaged due to Hurricane Irma. So, going to the page, donating like at least $5, $10, even $50 isn't very much, but it will help, our Caribbean brothers, sisters, families, friends in helping rebuild their homes.
There's also a call for certain donation items as well, which are personal hygiene products they're looking for. They're requesting things like baby diapers, baby food, clothing, things like toiletry, personal hygiene products, garbage bags, disinfectants, so that they can help with the cleanup. So at our office at 55 Rutherford Road South, Unit 205 in Brampton, we are set up to receive your donations there. So instead, if you'd like to donate some items versus donating money, please come on over to the office here in Brampton. We'd be more than happy to accept your donations. We will be getting it together in about 2 weeks, and I believe the date would be September 21st that we'd like to turn the items over to the Consulate General Office for Antigua, where they'll be shipping it down to Barbuda for distribution there.
Now keep in mind too that as much as it's nice to give toiletry products and stuff like this, they also have to try and get it down there. But a lot of these islands have been so hugely devastated that they need money to rebuild and get supplies and stuff like that. So we're kindly asking that if you can please, if it's $5, $10, $15, $20, please donate, because that's what they need the most. They need to start rebuilding their infrastructure, rebuilding homes, and creating shelters for these people that are displaced. So again, if you can help, we greatly appreciate it. it's perfect here where we are right now, and we can only imagine what families are going through, not having homes, losing all their possessions, and literally not having anything that they know as home around them.
Welcome back, everybody. So I'm going to tell you why we haven't become a collective community. Because
Done.
you have to deal with people sometimes.
Right.
Like our producer. Like
Okay.
right now, I can't collectively work with her. Because all she's been doing since, guys, listen, the torture that I get here, I swear. Welcome to Here to Help, everybody. Welcome to Here to Help You. We're happy to have everybody here.
Yes, Simone Jennifer Smith alongside.
Yes. Alongside
You.
Me. Who are you?
Dave Rankin.
All right.
Cool, no?
So if you're just joining us now, we were just going over our history on how we come from this collectivist mentality.
Yes.
Right? Even though it's not possible now,
Stop it.
we come from that type of community. So let's go into we didn't stay on the negative, but there were some reasons why you said, which I think was excellent, the whole brother idea of being apart and coming back together and kind of being
Which makes
suspicious of each other and like
Of course.
okay, understand that. So is there anything you want to add about the history? Because I know we're going to speak about some communities. Some communities are very Lunda-like,
right?
Lunda-like.
Lunda-like? Yeah?
She doesn't even know where Linda is. This is the thing. Chelsea's laughing. Chelsea, where's Linda?
Stop it. They were a tribe, okay? This is okay. Stop it.
So Lunda-like.
Lunda, yes.
All right.
Lunda-like.
So let's go back into your history. Then we'll start talking about these
by means,
communities.
of course. So what we need to understand, of course, with being a collective, is that, of course, the people were the first and final source of all power. So you know how, of course, you know, like, especially when the voting season comes around, and we always hear, you know, the powers in the people, the powers in the people, the powers in the people. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, when it came to our history, the power was in the people. The power is truly in the people, because of course, if a ruler, a chief, or an elder was like, listen, you know, I want to go off and do this, which wasn't the will of the people, that wasn't going to fly. Do it? Exactly, because of course, the number one thing for the chief or the elder at that point in time was to act upon the will of the people.
Okay. All right.
Right. Second, in regards to like some political theories that Chancellor Williams does come up with within the book, right? Second, the rights of the community of people are and of right ought to be superior to those of any individual. Yes. So you can see how the many should outweigh, of course, that one. Or
very Eastern.
Yes. Where, of course, you know what, you have, of course, the capitalists now, right? Where it's simply
individualism, me, me. Millennials, me.
Well, not just, you can't
not
really,
all
you
guys.
Really
I can't blanket. I can't blanket. Right, but like 90% of you. Go ahead.
Of course, even with us now as a people, right? We all do. That, and we can't help it. Of course, you know what, we see what's been given to us.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
We've been fed Western
viewpoint and mentality and perspective for years. It's true.
Right? So I mean, it's like that child in the home, right? And sees, of course, what's happening in the home.
And they just keep repeating it.
Exactly.
Transgenerational trauma. Again, there it is, guys. There it is.
Also, you can see some of that happening, especially with some of the leaders of the 60s, especially when a lot of the African states now were becoming independent, where they received their Western education. And you can see now they attempted to fuse bits and pieces of traditional African views and spirituality and culture. But of course, you know what? They were still so far gone with the Western standpoint. It just didn't mesh.
Okay.
Right? At least their approach wasn't correct. Right. Second, government and people are one and the same. Right. Once again, the power in the people. Right.
Power to govern self.
Exactly.
Government. Okay.
Right, which makes perfect sense.
Interesting. Foucault's governmentality, if anyone knows about this. So one of the problems he said with government is the fact that many of us are unable to govern ourselves. So how do we put people who are unable to govern themselves in a position of power to govern other people? Foucault, Great question.
Well, that too, and you know what? Greek philosophers also tackled with this question as well. I believe it was Aristotle that said that certain people should be enslaved for the simple fact, of course, they cannot go ahead and do
And
the
control
things.
themselves within. Yeah, take care of within. Very true. Very
Right.
true.
Another thing that Chancellor Williams does mention is that land is very essential.
You love talking about land.
Of course.
You're
because-
always talking about land.
Yes, I am.
You want land?
Of course.
Okay. Wow.
Don't you?
I'll just take your land.
That is very Western-like family. Really? Okay.
Just saying.
So back then, simply the land belonged to no one. It was of God's gift to mankind for use and as a sacred heritage, right? Transmitted by our forefathers as a bond between the living and the dead. So of course now we see that, of course, you know, the Caribbeans, of course, a lot of us have land back home. You know, family,
Yeah.
generational
Everyone
land,
has land.
right?
Yeah.
And of course you see when, of course, you know,
The Chinese now though.
maybe not. Maybe it's not in some certain areas. But anyways,
Most
right?
parts.
You see the succession, or at least the transitioning, of course, of a passing of one family member, and how the land gets passed down, of course, to other family members, right?
Yep.
By means, of course, and that land, if we're not doing anything with the land, right, it's a disservice to our foreparents.
Absolutely, because it's just sitting there wasted.
Exactly. Right, and then until it becomes squatter land, and of course, and by means, all type of things are happening to the land, right, and eventually it gets
Growing
taken
the
over.
finest herbs.
In a controlled environment, of course, right?
Just saying.
Right. In regards to like some organizations now who do mirror some of these things, the Toronto Black Farmers and Food Growers Collective.
Wait, you just... Okay, I see why you jumped
Right,
there. I
right,
got it.
right.
it. Okay. I met this young lady.
Yes, big up Lori.
Lori, big up yourself.
Big up, right?
She came up to me, and of course, as a woman, whenever another woman compliments you, you're just like, yeah. You know, I was so thankful. I was like, thanks.
Right.
You know, it was awesome, but it was good energy. But sorry.
Yeah.
So she is one of the...
She's part. I'm not sure what her position is. However, though, she is part of a collective now where they had the...
There's a
Food
logo
market,
for them.
the
Can
market.
you throw up? There's some pictures there actually, Chels. There's a picture of their logo, and also there's a picture of a garden as well, just showing some of the work that they do.
Right.
So here's an example of
There you go.
of
Right.
their community garden.
Correct. Right. And they also had the food markets on during the weekend, during the summer.
Yes.
Right. I heard they are extending through the winter by the hotel as well. Please.
Which is awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amazing. There we go.
There we go. The Toronto Black Farmers Growers. For anyone who doesn't know about them,
Right. You just Google them.
Google them,
Yeah.
and they
Facebook.
they grow their own foods.
Yes.
And then they sell them.
Right. Some may have distribution straight from some of the islands.
Other
as well.
islands. That's right.
So by
That's
means,
right.
of course, land is essential. I mean,
Yeah.
not only just, of course, for living. Well, sorry, excuse me, dwelling. I mean, by residential, but of course, for in this case, for sustenance. For if we can't grow our own food, how are we supposed to go ahead and remain as independent as the people?
It's true, because it's always that dependence on someone else
Dependency
to do for
model,
us.
as Uncle Louis
the
states as well,
dependency
right?
model. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Another one is Global African Community Network, right? Big up Kofi, right? Simply, they are a network of organizations, people, right? Just simply coming together, right, for a greater and common cause. By means, go on their website, www.gacnto.com, right? They have the list of their initiatives from anywhere from, of course, once again, obtaining of land, small business loans, right? You name it, by means. And of course, then they do wonderful work within the city as well when it comes to now, of course, bringing up speakers from across the border, right? And as well as workshops, right? So that we can get our mind right in regards to what it is we need to do for our people going forward.
It's very collective. And I also like to thank Chelsea for putting that picture up pronto. That was pretty good there, Chelsea. We appreciate you. We really do. Collectively, we are working together to serve the people. All right, girl.
That was very good.
Of course, I'm being nice. You know,
I see.
I appreciate the work that she does.
I see.
So that's two groups now
Two.
who have like collective.
Right.
I noticed that word at the end, which I loved.
Right, collective, community, right?
All these words, togetherness, so that it's happening. You know what? It's something that Lori did say to me on the Saturday. She's like, you know what, Simone? There's people out here that there are people doing things. Not everyone's doing the right thing,
Right.
but there are people actually out here doing things.
Right.
And we need to talk about them more, and we need to put them into the headlines more, because people need to understand that we're not all the same. Some of us have worked against some of these inner demons that we've dealt with, and
Right.
we're trying to do better. It's how I got here. This is why I started doing what I did. I had to face myself first, right?
Well, you know, our heart's in the right place, right? And sometimes, of course,
We get derailed.
we got two emotions inside of us, right? And we
Yeah.
either go with the love side of things, or it's the hate side of things, which takes us away from our path.
From our path, right? So these are groups that are staying on the love side and doing what they need to do. So
Correct.
kudos to y'all.
Yes.
Kudos to y'all.
Gotta send a wonderful shout out to Aita and as well as Miguel from a different book
There
list.
is a picture of them. Aita, I told you to remember my face because I would be speaking and talking to you soon. So we're waiting for Chelsea, our wonderful collectively thinking
Jeez.
producer.
Different book list? Yes.
Different book lists. There's a picture, actually, there's a vintage picture of the old store
Oh, boy.
that I found.
Which was down the street, yeah.
Yes, and then I found a picture of both of them, of Aita
And Miguel?
yes,
Yes.
and Miguel.
And she's shaking her head like she can't. Oh, no, we get a good...
There it is.
There we go.
Is that it? I'm
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I remember this one. And of course, a lot of reviews maybe remember, of course, when they were at this location as well.
Yes.
Right, which was a little bit smaller, and of course, in comparison to where they're at right now.
Their place is beautiful now.
It is.
The spot, good for you. I love seeing growth.
Yes.
That's awesome. Moving from here, mind you, this is beautiful too.
Yes.
But to see the growth, and they're planning to get even bigger.
That's right. So of course, you know,
Very proud.
they just had their fundraising efforts to go ahead
There they are.
and sustain. There you go. We see Aita and of course and Miguel, right? What can we say? I mean, shoot, like different book lists has been around for years, right? And what they present is simply a cultural hub, right? Not even just in terms of regards to literature, artists, right, poetry, right, you know, storytellers, because of course this is how we got our point across, right, as a people. But also now you have a place now where the meeting of the minds now
That's
take
awesome.
place.
Yeah,
right?
collectively thinking.
Collectively thinking, right? In regards to, of course, what direction they want to go towards, right? And once again, of course, for the people.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome. So we have a couple more, but we don't want to get into them yet because we don't have much time.
Don't even worry
So
about it.
when we come back, we'll be doing two things. We're going to be talking about two other community groups, and then we're going to start talking about some of our own initiatives here at Carib 101 and Here to Help. See you soon.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Here to Help.
Peace and love,
You.
family.
So before we go any further, I want to thank every single viewer. Because of the time of our show, we understand that not all viewers can watch it now. People are not sitting in front of Facebook like, let's wait for Here to Help to come on. Like, not yet.
Not yet, that is.
Very soon that's going to happen, but not yet. But I love the love that we get from the viewers. I do communicate with a lot of people on LinkedIn, and I communicate with a lot of people on Facebook, and I send the video out to them, and I get responses back, and I appreciate the love everybody. I do. There was always that one person who puts the thing sign. I'm just like, you had to hate with your one thumb. You had to hate. Like,
it's all right, because if everything was, on the thumbs up, how do we know where to improve?
It's true. But he doesn't even say anything. He just puts the thumb down.
How do you know it's a guy, not a girl?
It seems very masculine. I feel like it's...
To put the thumbs down.
It might be a woman's too, because only a woman would do that. Like, boo, I don't like her hair. Like,
really
whatever.
Only a woman. Now it might be the only... who knows? Whoever it is, please
keep putting your thumb down.
Leave your comments.
Thank
Constructive
you.
Criticism. We are attempting to grow.
Can I curse? You're trying to be nice about it.
Really? You want to curse?
Not
really.
Go
right ahead.
Not really. Thank you, everybody. In the end of it, thank you, everyone, for
appreciate
just
it so
viewing.
much.
We really appreciate you. Even with this show, if there's someone that we mention who, or if something we say touches you in some type of way, send this out, share this. Again, we are we are progressively moving towards a collective society. That's what we want to do here in Toronto, and we want us to be known for that. So let's keep going.
Yes.
Let's keep going.
Excuse me. Tropicana Community Services, way out in Scarborough.
Scarborough.
Chelsea, can we get the logo up?
East Side.
So
too much? Big up Victor.
We'll leave it to that. Yes. Big up Victor.
Victor lives in Scarborough. Big up yourself, Victor.
Go on. Right. So basically they offer community services, right? And anywhere from, of course, counseling, childcare, youth development. I think it's the only community-centered service. I want to make community-centered, our community-centered service, right? Which has, of course, the job creation, if not job hunting, they go ahead and assist you with stuff like that. Doctors on staff, right? So I mean, like, it's truly a community where, of course, people like us can walk in and say, listen, if we need some help, they're bound to have something there for us that will go ahead and assist us.
Okay. So, again, we are providing these resources because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they are alone. You're not alone in this, okay? Whatever you've been through, someone I'm sure has been through it, maybe even worse, but you've got to know that these services are out there for you, so you kind of know who to turn to. It's a hard feeling to feel alone. I know what that feels like, so knowing that support's there.
Especially when now, of course, you hear now a transition of consciousness or elevating of consciousness.
It's tough.
It is a lonely journey.
Very lonely.
Right, and of course, you know what? It's so beautiful and enriching when you find like-minded, right? And as well as, of course, a community of like-minded people as well, right?
Yes.
Right, and speaking of that, of course, the last organization that we'll mention on the show, the All African People's Revolutionary Party.
Sister Tandiwe.
Big up.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
We really, really do.
What can we say? I mean, in respect, of course, this party. Now, historically, when we're looking now at the severing, of course, of a lineage now, and of course, the division of a people, right, due to, of course, the invasions, the colonial powers, so on and so forth, right? This party stands for, of course, the bringing of the people back together, right? The resources, putting the resources back in the hands of the people, the working people, that is, right? Or, of course, once again, right, when the people, right, governed by the people, right, which is all falls along the lines of a true African democratic society.
I like all them big words still.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You should run for president.
I don't know about that.
You'd have support.
What president? We have a prime minister in this country.
Whatever.
I think you understand what you're saying.
Dave for president.
Thanks. Just like Eric B, y'all.
So now that we've discussed the positives, because again, I want to always be pushing the positive and showing how much we have progressed. We are not where we want to be, but we're on our way there.
Yes. I mean, in small pockets. But, one thing that we truly need to understand, right? And especially now, when we're teaching the young ones, especially when we go into the homes and teach the young ones, Tinga Tales is something we often use.
Tinga Tales.
Yes. There's an actual story, right? A very small segment, and it's called Why Ants Work Together.
It's a good one.
Very
for parents.
Children? Yes.
YouTube Tinga Tales.
Yes, please do.
Chelsea, right? YouTube Tinga Tales. You'll learn about working together.
Right. And they use the word pamoja, right, which is Swahili for together, or at least working together.
Together.
Yes.
Together. That's their song. I like it.
Right?
This is what happens when you work with students.
It happens.
I can't help it. We can't help it. So Tinga Tails, ants working together. Actually, ants are a really good story. I like ants, and I like how they talk about them, because ants, as small as they are, they're very powerful because they work together.
And that's the whole thing, right? We have small pockets. Okay, Chancellor Williams mentions that, everybody's out here vying for leadership, right? And not understanding that, of course, everybody who has an organization is a small nation. Just like a small family, is a small nation. But not understanding that when these small nations now come together, like the Lunda tribe, right? And understand, listen, exactly, we come from one place. Let's go ahead and collectively pool our resources.
Together.
There you go, right?
I like the song.
We come a stronger nation.
Together. All right. So now let us propel into ways that, for example, Carib Media Corp.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong community-based media company. Toronto Caribbean newspaper, of course, my TCN television network. They have allowed and given us a platform that we can come and do this for our community, okay? Something else they are doing, and it's something now here to help what we've decided to do, is that we are going to be assisting community groups with their fundraising.
There you go.
So just doing a little bit more, whether it be advertising, whether it be going on the streets, legit, like going to the churches, going to store, getting what we need for our community, not just here in Canada, of course, but let's talk about what's been happening. So we all know about Hurricane Irma. They put it on news for about a week, then they took it off, and I think people forgot that it happened. Well, don't forget. Let's review this quickly. So Hurricane Irma is known now as the most powerful hurricane ever recorded, and it has left a path of destruction in the Caribbean and continues to threaten many more of the islands in the south. Now, I think it's probably done now. This is like an old thing where I got this from, but long story short, it was devastating, and it's affected a lot of islands in the Caribbean. So some of the places that it hit, of course, were St. Martin's, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Thomas, and St. John's in the U.S., Virginia Islands, Turks and Caicos, and Cuba. So a lot of places were hit by this. So I was on pride.org stories. If you're looking this up, this is my reference. Thank you, Chelsea. These are some of the pictures. I appreciate it. Now, the ambassador of Barbuda, his name is Ambassador Ronald Saunders, said, "The damage is complete. For the first time in 300 years, there is not a single living person on the island of Barbuda." I want people to really think about this. In 300 years, this island is completely barren. No one's there, okay? A civilization that has existed on that island for over 300 years has now been completely extinguished, everybody. Okay. So, although the evacuees are safe, Saunders says that the situation is not ideal right now. And this is the problem. This is what we need to understand. People are living in cramped quarters in government facilities and nursing homes in Antigua right now. Antigua, thank you, bless you for taking them in.
Yes.
Including some 500 school-aged children. School's back in session, everybody. So just think about this. There's 500 school-aged children who are not even in school right now. So a lot of people are suffering. This is having that rippling effect that we're talking about.
That's right.
Okay? He goes on to say that the world must step in for Barbuda now. The world. Us here in Canada, in the States, in the UK, we have to do something.
And when we're looking at stepping in, of course, with these other nations, we're not looking at like interest-free loans to give out to, of course, to these ravaged islands. We're looking, of course, if you're going to give something, give, right? And there's no ties, behind the giving of it, and there's no saying in regards to where the allocation of those funds should go to. If you're going to give and work with these people so they can go ahead and get their lives back together.
Well, this is the thing. You know what? I can understand a lot of people are like, they're cautious with giving their money.
Mm-hmm.
We all are having. Listen, it's not easy for everybody. I get it. Even here in Canada, there's people here in Canada who are in need, and I understand that.
Right.
But we have to understand sometimes we've got to look past ourselves. And this is what happened to me this weekend. Is I had a great experience, which I'm going to share a little bit later on, where I was feeling sorry for myself. poor me, and I had to snap myself out of that because I've been listening to the news, and again I had an encounter this weekend that snapped me out of that right away. Where it's like, come on, Simone, like as much as you're having a hard time, at least you have someplace to go and sleep tonight.
Right.
These people don't even have homes. They don't even have an island anymore.
Right.
Like, this is terrible. They have nothing, and I'm complaining about small stuff, right?
And this is what happens, you know, especially when now we're living, of course, in this type of society, right? With the Western world. If my phone stops working, oh my God.
It's a tragedy.
What am I going to do with my life?
You know, and for someone whose phone doesn't work very well, it's minor. You know, Chelsea's looking at me. I don't care. Anyone that knows me has seen my phone. I don't business. My phone looks like it's gone through like a grinder. I don't care because it's so, Chelsea calls it scrap metal.
Yes.
It is what it is. It works sometimes, okay? But let me just conclude this before we go on and break again. Sanders continues by saying, we are a small island community. The gross domestic product of Antigua is $1 billion a year. So we cannot afford to take on this responsibility on our own. Barbuda is not just a disaster, it is a humanitarian crisis. Humans are suffering right now. So, Carib Media Corp has started a GoFundMe page. Everybody, please. I posted it. I'm going to continue to post it, and you're going to continue to hear about this until we get these funds raised. We're looking for $50K.
There we go. We got it. You know, sorry.
There it is. Thank you.
Yes, there you go. Thank you very much, Chelsea.
There we go. Donate today. $5, $10. It doesn't matter what you have. Donate it. They also are setting up spots to drop off here.
Yes.
So there's things that we can do, everybody. You can go to, quickly before we go, www.gofundme.com/Carib101 to put in your donations. When you come back and when we do get back, we'll talk about what more we can do in our community here and across the world.
Hey guys, Grant here from Carib 101 Media Group, and this is an outreach video going out to everybody with a request for assistance on your part. As you guys know, there's a lot of devastation that happened in the islands because of Hurricane Irma. There are families that are hugely displaced. Some islands are over 95% inhabitable, and people are reaching out to us, asking us where they can either give products or aid or finances, and at the time we didn't know where to go.
So in order to aid in relief efforts, Carib 101 Media Group has started up a GoFundMe page where the community can now go and help submit donations in order to help rebuild the infrastructure that's been damaged due to Hurricane Irma. So, you know, going to the page, donating like at least $5, $10, even $50 isn't very much, but it will help, you know, our Caribbean brothers, sisters, families, friends in helping rebuild their homes.
There's also a call for certain donation items as well, which are personal hygiene products they're looking for. They're requesting things like baby diapers, baby food, clothing, things like toiletry, personal hygiene products, garbage bags, disinfectants, so that they can help with the cleanup. So at our office at 55 Rutherford Road South, Unit 205 in Brampton, we are set up to receive your donations there. So instead, you know, if you'd like to donate some items versus donating money, please come on over to the office here in Brampton. We'd be more than happy to accept your donations. We will be getting it together in about 2 weeks, and I believe the date would be September 21st that we'd like to turn the items over to the Consulate General Office for Antigua, where they'll be shipping it down to Barbuda for distribution there.
Now keep in mind too that as much as it's nice to give toiletry products and stuff like this, they also have to try and get it down there. But a lot of these islands have been so hugely devastated that they need money to rebuild and get supplies and stuff like that. So we're kindly asking that if you can please, if it's $5, $10, $15, $20, please donate, because that's what they need the most. They need to start rebuilding their infrastructure, rebuilding homes, and creating shelters for these people that are displaced. So again, if you can help, we greatly appreciate it. It's perfect here where we are right now, and we can only imagine what families are going through, not having homes, losing all their possessions, and literally not having anything that they know as home around them.
Hello, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this long, and thank you for being there, viewers. Again, if you are enjoying this, if there's something you hear that you like or you think someone else will like or relate to, and again, with something like this is about all of us, so we should all be able to relate to this.
Oh yeah.
We've all had to experience something in our lives. I'm sure a lot of people, even we were just talking about in our last segment, what's happening in Barbuda and why it's so important to continue the efforts to get the money to them. Again, $5, $10,
any amount counts.
Any
at
amount,
this point.
any amount will matter for them. We need to get something to them, and getting some donations, some things sent off. We sent off some things last week, which was awesome.
Yes.
It's on the Carib Media. I think it's on the My TCN TV page. You can check and see. I believe Chelsea, yes? Yes. So you can check on there where you see them being loaded up. And we did pretty good, but we can do more. We can always do more, right? So it could be just going to the dollar store and picking up like toothbrushes and toothpaste and soap, body wash, and just put it in a bag and drop it off.
Think of the at least 500 displaced children.
Yeah.
At least
them. And always think we always think it couldn't happen to us. Yes, it can. It can always happen to you.
In the blink of an eye. We could be the ones now going ahead and asking for help at some point in time, right?
It always happens that way. And in saying that, I want to talk about a story, another fundraising effort that Here to Help's about to take upon themselves. And I'm doing this because, of course, I am closely connected to this situation. So I'd like you to put up a picture. I'm going to speak on him a little bit. I want you to look at this young man, okay? So I'm going to call this the Leoben Randall segment, and this is a Leoben story, all right? So I'm sure the younger ones, probably a little bit younger than me, they'll know this young man as, his birth name is Leoben Randall, but he goes as Robin Banks. So let's talk about him a little bit. So Jane and Finch rapper, Robin Banks. And I say Jane and Finch, and I know a lot of people might instantly be like, oh, Jane and Finch, oh my goodness. Let me tell the story, okay? He was shot, no, I'm serious. You know, already people hear Jane and Finch and they talk foolishness. So he was shot 9 times in Vaughan in April. Mm-hmm. He was at a club, and we'll talk about what he was actually doing there the night that he got shot. But this is a 22-year-old who was shot 9 times just before he celebrated probably one of the greatest moments of his actual life.
Right.
He's very popular in the hip-hop game here. He was a rising star. He had, if you go on his YouTube page, just put in Robin Banks, and you will see he has over 2 million views on some of his songs. So this is someone who, his material is a little raw. Yes, I have to say.
But the popularity.
Because, again, he's speaking of what he sees. You have to understand.
Right.
There's certain areas in Toronto, yes, that do have some activity that's not the greatest.
Yes.
So he's speaking of what he's seen growing up, but he's been able to connect to his group, his demographic. He was able to do it. That's why he got all these views. He is so good that he actually started to get nods from, like, Drake and Meek Mill.
Yeah, I believe he was signed or almost signed.
So this is the sad part. So how this ties in with me is I've gotten permission from his mother. Now, some of the things I want to talk about, I'm not going to disclose names, obviously, for the confidentiality of the family. But I was able to sit down with his mom on Saturday. And this was when I was going through poor me. And it snapped me right out of it, is the fact that this young man went from being at the prime of his life to currently, this man is unable to move his body from the neck down. And it happened like that. Mm-hmm. And I want everyone to understand, when I say that you always think it's never going to happen to you, it can happen to anyone. Any mother, and I can now speak for a mother and probably hundreds of other mothers in Toronto who have lost their children to gun violence, right? This could have been a different show. Thank God he is still here.
Yes.
But the young man obviously has gone through some trauma. Yes. And he's currently dealing with a lot of health issues. What they said in the hospital, what they've said is that he has a severed spinal cord. So with a severed spinal cord, of course, you know that limits your access and your mobility to pretty much doing everything. Right? Why he was shot? Well, the good thing, and this is coming from CP24, so you know if CP24 is saying this, it's just like, okay, they're saying that there was no bad blood. So it's like this young man was out here gangbanging. He wasn't out here in the streets. He was just on his rap game. He was on something that he loved to do.
Right.
And he had just been signed to Meek Mill's label, I believe. And what they're saying, this just looks like some good old hater type stuff.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. I don't know. You know what? I'm hoping one day. I have been in conversation with Leoben, and I've reached out to him. I had an opportunity to speak with him on Saturday, and I'm hoping at some point when obviously he's dealt with this, and when he's going through his recovery right now, and this is going to be a process, that he'll be able to share his story and share what happened. Right? This is not something that's going to happen right now. Obviously, he's still healing. Of course. Mentally and physically, he's still healing. Right. So I work with the family, and this is a situation where, again, the whole purpose of us talking about what we did today kind of brought us to this point. Right. Okay. So in order to get the mobility he needs, he has to undergo some stem cell therapy. Boy. Okay. Now, stem cell research, I'm getting a lot of these facts. I'm going to go over some of this stuff really quickly, just so that for those who don't understand what stem cell is, it was kind of controversial because it came behind the whole cloning. Remember that sheep they cloned? What was her name? Gloria?
I don't remember the name, but I do remember the sheep.
It wasn't Gloria.
Not Gloria? I'm sure Chelsea
Dolly.
can confirm.
Dolly was her name. Dolly was the first cloned sheep where they clone things. And it's been very you can't play God. But let's talk about what stem cell research has done just in the last few minutes of this. So scientists believe that stem cell research can be used to treat medical conditions including Parkinson's disease, spinal cord injury, strokes, burns, heart disease, diabetes, osteoarthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis. This is something, and let me tell you why. Let's talk about why. So what are stem cells? So stem cells, there's 4 different classes. I'm going to go over them, okay? 4 different classes of stem cells. So totipotent, multipotent, pluripotent, and unipotent. I'm going to go over each one. And again, I'm doing this so that we can understand why what I'm going to ask is so important. Okay, there's a chance that we can help this young man. So totipotent stem cells develop into cells that make up all the cells in an embryo and a fetus. Okay, this is going to make sense after. Just trust me. Bear with me on this. Multipotent stem cells can give rise to multiple types of cells, but all within a particular tissue, organ, or physiological system. You all right there, Dave?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pluripotent stem cells can give rise to any type of cells in the body, and unipotent stem cells can self-renew. Now, I want you to listen to the whole point of stem cell is being able to rejuvenate certain parts of your body. Right. Rejuvenate, and I think they take it from the bone marrow, from what I've heard. Okay? Some of it, okay? Okay. So the primary role of these stem cells is to maintain and repair tissue in which they are found. So they're able to use this type of research, and they've been doing more on it to help people, for example, like Leoben, who have lost use of their limbs, lost use of their body because of things like spinal cord injuries. Right. And they can actually rejuvenate those cells. Boy. Okay. But this is expensive. This is not a cheap procedure. Okay. Now, scientists believe stem cells can be used to generate cells and tissues that can be used for cell-based therapies as a need for donated organs and tissues. Okay, so again, helping your body rejuvenate itself. Right. Fact for you. In 2004, South Africa became the first African nation to create a stem cell bank.
Oh, wow.
Yes. 2 types. We already talked about the 2 types of stem cells and the importance of them. So I want us to understand that, again, with stem cell research, they're still working on it. Everything is a work in progress. That's science, right? But the mom has shared with me that there is a great possibility of Leoben getting his life back if he can get access to this research and to this therapy, right? Again, like I said, this therapy it's not cheap. It's very expensive. And they have started, there has been a lot of groups within the community that have already done great things to help Leoben out. I know Driftwood Community Center has raised some money for him. Yes. There are other groups within the community. Baltimore, Maryland, they've donated a large chunk of money towards Leoben's GoFundMe page. Yes. Canada, Toronto in general, I think has donated 10,000 so far. Baltimore 12,000.
Okay.
Some of the smaller community events, there have been events that people have put on.
Yes.
I
Shout
know,
out to Uncle Louie and the whole
yes,
movement.
Uncle Louie, the
Zero gun violence.
Zero Gun Violence movement has been very active in that. And I want you to understand that when a situation like this happens, everyone suffers. I work personally with this family, and this mom is dealing with a lot. She's dealing with, obviously, a son she has to take care of pretty much 24/7.
Right.
She's dealing with a mother who has Alzheimer's, so she's dealing with a lot of things happening in that family. And she has a young woman who she's growing, a young 12-year-old girl who's seeing all of this. And it's tough. It's hard to see. Like, again, I had to stop complaining when I walked in to the home, because I'm like, what am I complaining about? People are having it. Very difficult. So we are starting, Here to Help is starting something today, and I'm going to be working on it for the next year or so. I'm putting my time and effort into doing it, where we are going to raise this $300,000 needed for his stem cell research. How are we going to do it, you ask? Simple. I'm going to find 300,000 people to donate $1. That's it. $1, everybody. $1. That's all I need from everybody.
$1.
$1 to help someone in our community. Again, we're supposed to be together.
Right.
Working together. Someone once said to me, Simone, a whole lot of a little still equals a lot. So if I can get 300,000 people to give me $1, that's it. That's all I need for this young man. That'd be fantastic.
Of course.
You can go on his... Oh, and let me tell you what inspired me very quickly. There's a donor who I commend. I'm not going to say your name, confidentiality. He said, I'm going to donate more when I get some money soon. And he donated $1. That's what inspired me.
Yes.
That someone went on there. Some people, obviously, there was thousands, but he donated $1. That's all we need. I'm going to be pushing more of this out in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned to that. You can go to www.ucaring.com/Leoben Randall to his GoFundMe page. Guys, let's work together and do this. #community. Donate
folks.
that $1.
$1.
Let's think about our people in Barbuda. Donate where you can there as well. Everyone, thank you so much for being here with us. Let's do more as a community. We are collectivists in nature.
Yes.
Let's show it, everybody. Let's do this together.
Let's do it.
Have a wonderful day.
Peace and love, family.
See everyone next week.